Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? It's your boy, Uncle Fulio.
And this is Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises. And you are watching the crossover on the MBK network. Big ups to Sim. You know, Sim's the creator of the channel. Created all these platforms for us. And here we are. Today is Josh's turn to host. So I'm going to let him take the lead. The Queen is in the chat somewhere. Shout out to the Queen. Your Black is time. Let's go.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody, these episodes are always sponsored by Nothing But Knicks. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell to be notified anytime we go live. That's pregame coverage, postgame coverage, shoot-around videos, draft review videos, keep them or dump them videos. All the content will be found right here on Nothing But Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to Ron from Still Knicks Fans. I know he's out there. I see him in the chat right now. The Queen's Court. Obviously, that's a big segment that we love to salute our Queen. I'm filling in for her today. And then also don't forget about Knicks and Bruises, my man Tony Crow. And we're about to kind of break this thing down. Listen, Tony, I've been going back and forth with Twitter. I've been going back and forth with Sim. I've been going back and forth with you about this specific topic. I want to say for a long time, but we've been going at this for a while. This is probably my most controversial topic, so to speak, in regards to the media and how the Knicks are treated and James Dolan and everything like that. And we're going to talk about all of this stuff and express our positions fully. But just give me some of your opening thoughts on everything that's been taking place, without getting too much in the weeds.
Well, I mean, the press conference happened, and there was no press, so it was just a conference. And that's what happened. My question was, big deal or not a big deal, and I'll let you lead right off of that. Was it a big deal? We'll probably have opposite takes, but I'll let you lead. That was the main topic.
Probably. I don't know if it's going to be probably. I'm pretty sure we're definitely not going to have the same take on this. And I am firm with what I believe about this. And I'm going to explain the reason why I feel this way about the situation. First and foremost, salute to Dope Soul Sports Talk. Also, I forgot to throw that one out there. That's the Queen's other channel. Make sure you go like and subscribe to her other channel as well. And also the Still Knicks Fans channel. Make sure you go salute them. I know they have a segment on here, the NBA report, but also go to Still Knicks Fans and like and subscribe to their channel. Salute to Jay Boogie. I see you out there in the chat, Jay Boogie. Salute to you. So let me just preface my comments on this entire thing by saying I've been a Knicks fan my entire life, right? I'll be 30 years old next month. I know that's very young for some of y'all out there. I'll be 30 next month, 30. You know what I mean? I've been a Knicks fan ever since I can remember. I've always supported this team, even in the good days, the bad days. I haven't seen much good. I know early on when I became a Knicks fan, the Knicks were doing well, 99 finals and stuff like that, right? So I can't stress enough how much I love this team and I want to see them be successful. Let me just get that out the way. The media is there to hold teams accountable. That's what the media is for. Hate them, love them. They say good things, they say bad things. They are there to hold teams and anybody, for that matter, accountable. If you look in the political spectrum, you got Fox News, you got CNN, different ends of the spectrum. They do lean certain ways from the political spectrum one way or another. But the whole purpose of media and to have media outlets, particularly the press, is to hold teams accountable. For the past 20 years or so, since James Dolan has been the owner of this team, right? The media has essentially held the Knicks accountable for what they have not been doing on the floor. The terrible seasons that they've been having and just the abundance of mismanagement and ineptitude that this team has shown us for years now. That's what's happened. And to me, I feel like the Knicks fans, right? And it's kind of weird because Knicks fans, again, depending on the day of the week, they'll express how they feel. Last season, everyone was screaming, oh, Julius Randle wants to run from the media. How come he doesn't want to take the tough questions from the media? Right? Why is Leon Rose and everybody running from the media? Right? And everybody wanted to see the media then when the Knicks weren't winning any games. Because why? They wanted the media to hold these people accountable. Now, all of a sudden, the Knicks do something where they don't invite the media. And now it's a total opposite. And now everybody wants to switch their take and go on the other side of it. Right? Because it was something positive and they felt like the media was going to turn it into something negative. To me, I just think that yes, the media does go overboard. Sometimes the Knicks are not covered in the best of lights. But to me, I feel like the owner should be more on the organization and James Dolan, because he has run this team amok since he's taken over. Things have gotten better, I would say, based on the moves that we've made, but they have not been translating onto the floor. Yeah, we were all excited about that 4th seed. Last season, we had a disappointing season. And for those who don't think we didn't have a disappointing season, let's go back to some of those videos when some of y'all were calling in the MBK, right? Complaining about what the team is not doing on the floor, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to wins and losses. And the jury is still out on what this front office can be and what this organization can be. Point blank, period. So I just feel like Knicks fans have this sense of entitlement that, the Knicks are doing things better than everybody else when we're not. It has not translated onto the floor yet. And to me, I feel like the media has covered us appropriately in the sense that we've been a terrible franchise for the last 20 years. And I just started off with there, and me and Tony are going to go back and forth.
Well, I'm going to address a lot of what you said, but before I address any of that, big deal then, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay. And without just talking in particular about that situation, why is it a big deal?
It's a big deal for me because I feel like when you shut out the media, right? When you shut out the media, you lose accountability, or you're not holding. You don't have any third party or fourth party in that regard to hold you accountable. That's what the media is there for. Accountability. That's why the media was created.
In that particular instance, what were they going to hold the Knicks accountable over?
They're going to hold the Knicks accountable over finding out what their plans were going to be, ensuring that their plan is still the same, that nothing has changed, that none of this stuff that we've heard in the rumor mill, you have a chance to address the front office and address Jalen Brunson, or you ask him questions, and you get their take on what their plans are going to be. That's what it's for the fans to have a voice, and it through the media, not these cherry-picked questions that, you got a couple questions and then you got rid of a couple questions because, no, we don't want them to ask that, right? Not those cherry-picked questions. I'm talking about legitimate, tough questions that you're going to need to answer at some point, that you have to answer for.
That was not the time for that. That was Jalen Brunson's moment. That was his family's moment. There was no necessary reason for the media to be there. They put on a conference, no press, for the fans. We got to enjoy it. Maybe some fans wanted to ask some questions. Maybe some media wanted to ask some questions. They will have an opportunity to do that. There's a thing called Media Day, right? That's when the media is supposed to be there and are obligated to be there. At this particular moment, they were not. As far as the coverage and the way they cover the Knicks and how they treat us overall, it's horrible. It's disgusting. Shout out to I'm sorry, I forgot who said it. I want to give you your credit, but someone in the chat, and it's a everyday person too. Harlem Girl, I believe. Who's gonna hold the media accountable? Because that's where I'm talking about.
Okay.
Who holds the media accountable?
Let's talk
because
about it.
The media is supposed to be fair. The media is supposed to be unbiased. The media is supposed to report on what's going on. It's not about opinion, or at least it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about bias. It's supposed to be an equal playing field. Now, if you're telling me media has transcended that and that's no longer what it is, I will agree with you. But to tell me that they're doing their job the way it's supposed to be done, I absolutely disagree with you.
How can media?
There's a thing called journalistic integrity, and I feel like a lot of these guys lack it. Before I let you go back, the reason I even started, I won't even say my own podcast. The reason I found Sim was because I was tired of the coverage on the Knicks. And this is at a point where we were nowhere near where we are now as an organization, as a front office, as a roster. We were at the bottom. You know what I mean? But guess what? Even when we're at the bottom and we go on a 3-game win streak on a Friday, or let's say a 3-game win streak on a Thursday, Friday, back to back, and we won the Wednesday prior, and then we lose on Sunday, I'll be like, all right. The only thing the media is going to talk about is that loss on Sunday. They won't say we won 3 out of 4. They'll talk about how we lost that game on Sunday when we just won three games prior. It's things like that irked me, that bothered me, and I said, you know what? Let me see what's on YouTube. Luckily, I found a guy like Sim who is not biased. If the Knicks are playing horrible, he's going to say the Knicks are playing horrible. If the Knicks do something good, he's going to say, hey, they doing something good. You disagree with that? Or you laughing at something in the
Absolutely.
chat?
I absolutely disagree with that. First of all, you said something that stood out to me. You said that the media is supposed to report the news, right? How can the media report the news if you shut them out the room? That's number one. Number two, you mentioned you had a point about the Knicks winning 3 games in a row, right? In a season where the Knicks were sub 30 wins. They were a bad team. Yet you want the Knicks to kind of shine up shit and call it gold, so to speak. Excuse my language. That's what you want them to do. You want the national media to cover the Knicks when they win less than 30 games per season. And you want them to cover them in a positive light. That's exactly what you're saying. The Knicks have been bad. Hold on, let me finish. The Knicks have been bad for years. Tony, say it with me. We support a losing team. The Knicks have not won anything. They have not done anything relevant in the NBA landscape for years. Why would the national media point at anything positive for a franchise that is supposed to be doing better, has every resource to potentially be doing better, and they have not been? What do you want them to say about that organization?
At what point do the sins of your forefathers stop affecting you personally?
When you win.
So we can't recognize progress until we over the mountaintop. We can't recognize a change until we win a championship.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Listen, you are, when you reference 30 years, 40 years of what we've done, and you don't acknowledge the change within the last 3 to 5, then yes, that's what you're doing. If the media has been unfair for the past, let's say, 10 years, then yeah, at this point, guess what? I'm going to limit the coverage of the media. A good reason for why maybe they didn't want the media present at this point, because they did not want to take away from Jalen Brunson's moment. There's a lot of other questions that would have been brought up that maybe he would have been asked, maybe the front office would have been asked. Now is not the time for that. They're going to be talking about trying to dig and ask about, when did you make your decision? When did you decide you was going to?
I'm just happy to be a New York Knick.
Yes,
I'm happy to be in New York Knicks.
Yes,
I'm happy to be here.
There are ways to avoid it, but guess what? There's also a possibility that you slip up and you say one thing that might be used against you.
Tony.
Yes, where everything's going to be in a microscope.
Think about the
let's answer those questions after after we know what's going to happen with tampering and things of that nature.
How about this? How come the Yankees don't run away from questions like that? Or the Mets? Or the Jets? They've been abysmal for years. How come they don't kick the media out? Why does it have to be us? You don't think there's a problem with that? You don't think there's an issue with the entire media landscape and everyone around the NBA landscape having a problem with what the Knicks did? You're just going to take the Knicks side.
Have a problem with what they did when? What are you referring to what they did?
Shutting out the media. A lot of people have a problem with that. There's only Knicks fans in this very moment that support, the Knicks doing a great job. The Knicks are doing something that no other team is doing. They're doing it right. Everyone else, the entire landscape, has an issue with what the Knicks did, and you're saying that the Knicks did it right.
You're referring to them not letting the press in? You're referring to this particular?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it, right or wrong or indifferent. I don't have a problem with it.
Whether it's right or wrong. Oh, okay. So you want the media to be right 100% of the time, right? But the Knicks, they can be wrong all day long. You still gonna support them?
If it's a reaction, if they're reacting based off of the way they're covered, yeah, I don't see a problem with it. No, we're not going to give you the chance to sabotage a positive moment for us.
Sabotage a positive moment for us. There's
Yes,
Knicks fans.
yes.
Hold on. There's Knicks fans that didn't even agree with getting Jalen Brunson in the first place. What about those fans that didn't agree with the move? You think all Knicks fans? Hold on. You think all Knicks fans are in? Hold on. Time out. You think all Knicks fans are in lockstep with how they feel about how the team's been run? You think all Knicks fans feel the same way and support the front office and support the moves? No.
Nope.
ESPN and a lot of ESPN analysts took the position where they don't support what the Knicks have done. Period. And the Knicks don't get the benefit of the doubt. Knicks fans have this. Some Knicks fans have this entitlement, like the Knicks deserve something. What the hell do we deserve, Tony? We have not done anything. Don't
put words in my mouth. I think we deserve to be treated fairly. I think we deserve to be covered when we do something well and when we do something bad. That's what I think.
What have we done well?
Drafted. What have we done well? Listen, even with the mistakes that we've made, and you've argued this yourself, with the mistakes that we made, Kemba Walker, whether Fournier is a mistake or not, Burks, Noel, we was able to move past that and flip it and rectify.
The Kemba Walker move celebrated?
By whom? By Knicks fans, yes. By the media?
The national media didn't celebrate, didn't give the Knicks a lot of props for what they did last offseason?
When they got Kemba or getting rid of him?
When they got him. A lot of Knicks fans didn't. Not Knicks fans. A lot of the national media didn't support. I like what the Knicks are doing. I think the Knicks are going in the right direction, particularly coming off a season where we went to the 4th seed and everybody was so happy about the Knicks, including the national media.
Yes.
So we didn't get support there?
In that moment, we did. Absolutely.
So how is that unfair?
And even that was late. Let's not act like they were celebrating us all year long or celebrating us, for the duration. Once we got there, yes, they celebrated us. For the duration of the playoffs.
How was that unfair?
Who said that was unfair?
You keep saying that the media treats us unfair. I asked you for an example, right?
And I mentioned the playoffs and the coverage then? Or no, you are?
No, but you mentioned the Kemba signing. And I referred to that and I said, did the media make that unfair? Was that unfair?
My point is, we will get clowned for the moves that we made. And in reality, which you have said yourself out your own mouth, even if it was a mistake, which it ended up being, Burks, Noel, Kemba, all of the moves, we got past that with savvy moves from our front office. Let's acknowledge that. You've made that point myself. The media won't make that point. They'll make it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How is the media? The national media, the national media, I'm not talking about local, I'm not talking about us. What determines whether a move was savvy or not from the national media perspective? Ultimately, at the end of the day, what determines savviness? What determines a good front office in the national NBA landscape?
What do you mean, what determines it?
What determines it? How do you quantify a savvy move at the end of the day? And when all is said and done, how do you quantify it?
Are you talking about the wins and losses? Because
yes.
we're not there yet. We haven't played a game this season
exactly.
yet.
So why do the Knicks deserve the benefit of the doubt?
You know why? Because we're not stuck here with Kemba on the roster and wondering if he's going to play or not, or if he's going to be on the roster for this year, but be on vacation essentially the whole year. That's what I'm talking about. The move in itself can be judged. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until the finished product before you say, "Hey, that was a good move."
It was a good move.
Some people did. Some people said it was risky. Some people didn't. But what I'm saying is, people also said, "Oh, we're stuck with them." When they said it was a good move, it wasn't. They weren't saying, "Oh, it's a good move because of the way the contract is structured, and they're able to move on from him if it doesn't work out." Excuse me. They said it was a good move if it works. We all said that.
Okay, so what's unfair about that?
I never said that part was unfair.
You said Kemba Walker. You mentioned specifically Kemba Walker.
God.
You said when we were covering Kemba Walker that was unfair. That was the question I asked you. You said Kemba Walker. So how is that unfair?
I said Kemba based off of something that you said out of your own mouth before. You never heard the media say, "Oh, after it was realized that the Kemba thing was not going to work mid-season, after the benching, there wasn't a lot of talks about the mistake of even bringing him on. It wasn't a lot of mistakes on the decision of Thibodeau benching him or not. That's what I'm talking about. The coverage is negative at all times.
The Knicks were not winning, Tony. They were not winning.
Oh,
if the Knicks were winning, it would be a praised move. That's what I'm trying to say. It goes back to that. The Knicks have not won, and that's a microcosm. Hold on. That Kemba Walker situation is a microcosm of what's been going on for years now. So when everyone has this whole thing about the media, and the Knicks fans hate the media because the media always covers us in a negative light. What the hell is there to be positive about? At the end of the day, what is there to be positive about? What can we hang our hat on as Knicks fans?
The direction of the team.
Where we going?
Where are we not better than we were last year? Potentially,
we haven't played a single game yet.
Do you think so? Did we not address a position of need in the best fashion that we did over the last 15, 20 years?
Is it going to?
Yes or no?
I answered that. I said yes. I think so.
So
I'm predicting. But okay, but guess what? If the Knicks don't win, right? If they don't win, I'll have egg on my face. A lot of Knicks fans will have egg on their face, and the media will cover it as it is. It was a bad move. Overpaying for Jalen Brunson. A lot of Knicks fans talk about that all the time. So it's okay for them to say it, but the media can't give their perspective and their opinion.
Not if it's biased. Not if it's equal.
How is it biased?
Not if. How do you have a debate show and both people are on the same side of the debate?
That doesn't happen all the time. There was
when
the Knicks. Hold on.
90%. 90%.
I just don't believe that.
How do you have a segment, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, where you're talking about Russell Westbrook is talked about in trade potential or potential trade with the Knicks for Julius Randle, 11-minute segment, and for 1 minute and 30 seconds you talk about how I don't want Randle in on the Lakers. How does that help us? And then for the other 8 minutes of the segment, all they're doing is bashing Russell Westbrook. How is that even a debate in that segment?
I don't get what you're asking.
My point is,
you saying the Knicks weren't the dominant talk of that debate? Is that what you're saying?
They barely were in the talk, and it wasn't a debate. It was bad. It was Westbrook's not good, but Randall's not good either.
When you have a debate show, right? Not everybody is always going to disagree. There's going to be times where people are going to agree, just like we do when we have these shows. That's going to happen, right? You're asking essentially what you're doing. You're asking ESPN to, when they have debate shows, that they're supposed to disagree all the time. That there's not supposed to be any type of lockstepness, anything like that. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. The point that I'm trying to make, the Knicks have been bad, and right now they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt unless they start putting wins on the basketball floor. Do I personally think? Hold on, let me ask you a question. Do I think the Knicks are going to be better? Absolutely, but they need to prove it on the floor. They need to prove it.
That's not a debate, though. I'm not going to argue against that.
Right.
Obviously.
So do
they need to be scrutinized and made fun of prior to a game even being played? They do?
Yes.
They should not be applauded for bringing in Brunson.
How can you applaud something when you have not won? You don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. If we're talking about the Laker organization or Miami or Boston, organizations that have won, that can get the benefit of the doubt by making a move that's supposedly supposed to improve their team, those organizations get the benefit of the doubt. We don't. And I give you multiple reasons why. I already told you, number one, we have not won anything for a long time. The second reason is the Knicks and those other organizations I mentioned, maybe not Miami, but we're talking the Lakers, Boston, the Warriors. These are original NBA franchises. Original. The coverage on the national media is going to get dominated by mostly those four teams. Because
I disagree. Miami maybe. Yeah, you said excluding Miami.
I said excluding Miami.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
NBA. I'll give you that. You got Boston. You got the Warriors, and you got LA, the Lakers, right? You can't cover the Sacramento Kings the same way you cover those four teams. You just can't.
What does that have to do with anything? So you're saying they could be treated more fair Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the coverage, the dominant coverage, is going to be mostly talked about in the NBA landscape of those teams because, those are the original teams. They're in major media markets, right?
Are you talking about how much they're covered or what is said when they're covered? I'm talking about what is said.
I'm getting there. I'm talking about how much they're covered, right? So in any event, the Knicks are not going to be covered the same way as the Sacramento Kings. So let's fast forward and let's talk about the substance of what they're talking about. You got the Sacramento Kings and you got the New York Knicks. Equally as bad for the last 20 years. And I would argue that the Kings have been a little bit better because they had some playoff runs in the early 2000s with Jason Williams, right? But equally run as bad. You're not covering the Sacramento Kings the same way you do the New York Knicks. You're just not doing that for like I said, the team that the Knicks are being a number one media market and also being an original NBA franchise, period. You're not covering them the same way. So for everybody to say that it's unfair, that's what New York is about. That's what makes New York, New York. We're supposed to be scrutinized. It's New York City. That's why you go out and that's why it's a tough town to play in. Not because just of the media, the fans too. So that's
how it should be. That's how it should be. It's one thing to say it comes with the territory, but at the same time, I mean, it's a fact that these guys, they transitioned from real journalistic things to opinionation things, stuff that gets you views. So if you're arguing they're going the route that's going to make them the most money and that's why they're doing it, then that makes sense to me. I get it. I'm not as mad, but to say that they're doing their job and they're doing it the right way, I disagree.
I'm just telling you that's what the reality is.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of Knicks fans are far from reality. Because think about this for a second. Just this vision this with me for a second. Last season, the Knicks were not having the best of seasons, right? Almost everyone that I came in contact with on Twitter, even through these chats, when we get on here and we talk and we discuss, New York Knicks, myself, Sim, you, Queen, everybody, right? Where is Leon Rose? Why is Leon Rose hiding from the media? Why is Julius Randle not talking to the media after the game? Right? Almost everyone was saying that. Because the Knicks were losing. So they wanted the media to hold those people accountable. The Knicks don't have a direction. Let's hold him accountable.
There is no account. The media cannot hold a franchise accountable.
Absolutely they can. Absolutely they can.
How so?
Because the media gets to ask the questions that the fans don't. That's why. The media asks the questions that can't. The media they're talking to these players every day. When you cover a story, and this is why I disagree with you about the whole media day thing. Let's wait till media day to ask the question. One of the pillars of journalism is to cover stuff in real time. So I wasn't born in 1865, right? I can't look at a documentary about the Civil War or look at some battles going on with the Civil War in a video and say that I covered it because I wasn't there. I didn't cover anything. I saw what happened. I can make a book report on it, write a little essay, 500 words, but I didn't cover it. There's a huge difference between being there, talking to people in the moment, getting a reaction about what's happening at that moment, than saying, okay, no, we're going to wait 2 months from now and then talk about it then. That is a slap in the face to journalism. That's a total slap in the face.
Can a journalist do a slap in the face to an organization?
Yes.
Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
Okay.
So if that has happened, and let's say it happened continuously, how should an organization prevent that or try to protect themselves from that?
Slapping yourself in the face. The Knicks have slapped themselves in the face for years, and you know it. You know that. You know it.
So you're
the butt of the joke for years.
So you're gonna disregard my question and still talk about the last 20 years, the last 30 years, the last 40 years. I'm talking about a particular incident. I'm talking about particular incidents. Like what do they need to ask that wasn't covered for this particular incident, Jalen Brunson's introduction.
Okay, so first of all, and I'm going to answer your question fully, but I'm going to dive into what you're asking me. You're talking specifically about the Jalen Brunson introduction because it wasn't even a press conference because there was no press there. You couldn't even invite Ian Begley, but that's a whole different whatever. What the media could have done was ask questions, and the answer that you get back, maybe not, it doesn't have to be exactly what you say. It's also body language. It's how you respond to questions. A lot of that stuff matters.
I want to know a question that, as you as a fan, wanted to hear asked and get an answer to that wasn't asked because the media wasn't there.
How do you feel about the Eastern Conference and some of the teams you're going to have to play moving forward in the Eastern Conference?
And that's detrimental, like, because you don't know that answer from Jalen Brunson right now. Like that's a problem.
No,
so, I mean, something serious that we needed to know that night from the media.
Okay, I'll just put it like this because again, Jalen Brunson's going to be a Knick. I'm happy that Jalen Brunson was signed to be a Knick. I'm very happy about that. I'm on board with it. I was on board with it from the beginning, and I was arguing with fans about that from the get-go. What the Knicks did yesterday on the floor, I don't think it's going to affect them in regards to the press. I don't think it's going to affect them. It's not detrimental to the Knicks on the basketball floor. But as far as public image is concerned, what they did, that's what I have a problem with. I don't think, like, a couple questions that they could have easily answered, we're not going to talk about that right now. I can't talk about another player on the contract, or I don't want to discuss that right now. It's a pending legal matter. I don't want to discuss that. Let's move on to something else. They could have easily answered the question that way, right? My big thing is about what the entirety of what they did and how it makes the image look terrible. That's what my thing is about. It's not about the interview itself or what wasn't asked or what was asked. It's not about that. It's about what you did and how that makes you look as an organization. What are you running from?
Who said they're running though? My point is this:
would you not let the media in?
Did they break a rule? Now if they broke a rule, like if it's media day and they like, oh no, this is just Knicks day, we're not having media.
Break a rule.
Then I can see a problem. Now the NBA got to get involved. You know what I mean? The commissioner got to get involved. This particular moment, again.
So just because the Knicks didn't break the rules, it's okay.
This is Brunson's moment, and he was able to share that with a couple of diehard Knicks fans and the organization and his family and immediate friends. I don't see nothing wrong with that at all. I say we move on from this a little bit.
Shout out to the cat. I know we've been getting kind of crazy. I know we've been getting kind of crazy, but I just wanted to voice my opinion. And I know me and Tony get heated, but everybody knows it's all love between me and Tony. We just disagree on this, and I'm in the minority on this, y'all. So y'all can clown me all y'all want to.
No, I was gonna say because there's a few people out there, but just put whose side are you on? Josh's side, Tony's side. Put Josh if you're on Josh's side. Tony's side if you're on Tony's side.
Honestly, I want y'all to do it. Everyone out there in the chat, please do it. But I already know what the answer is going to be. No one's going to support. Listen, I'll be the bad guy. Hate me. The Knicks can lose 60 games a season. Hate me for calling it out and talking about it. Please. That's not going to change the fact that the Knicks are going to be bad.
Even when I don't agree with your takes, I don't mind it coming from you. You're not a journalist, like a professional journalist. No, you know what I mean? Like, nor am I. Like, we are based on opinions. And yes, our opinions are going to be biased more times than not, one way or another, right? These guys are not supposed to be giving their opinion or riding a wave for views and for clicks.
That's horrible, Tony.
It's not horrible because where's the integrity? That's what I'm saying.
The integrity of someone giving their opinion?
No, the integrity of being honest on both sides, of saying or saying or acknowledging when there's progress.
I got him. I got you, Tony.
Wait, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, my doorbell rang. I gotta go get it. All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. Listen, I just want everybody out there to understand something. Me and Tony, we're disagreeing with this subject, but listen. This is the way I feel. I'm not doing this just to make a point, just to get views or nothing like that. I've had this point ever since I've, been watching the Knicks and how I've seen Knicks fans treat the media and act like they don't need the media, right? So this is not me, just trying to be different or be contrarian just for the sake of doing it. I want everybody to understand out there, I legitimately love the Knicks. I want the Knicks to be great. I want them to be a great team. But the reason why I support and I go so hard about this topic is I feel like a lot of Knicks fans support the ineptitude of the organization because they're loyal fans, which, I understand you're loyal fans, rather than holding the organization accountable. So that's the reason why I go so hard about this, because it's that same mentality that allows an owner like James Dolan to do the stuff that he does and get away with it, right? The arena filled to capacity when the team is losing 60 games, 50, 60 games a season, and there's no accountability. That's the issue that I have with it. That's the issue.
Angry
Salute
man.
the angry man. Go ahead.
No. I want you to read it. I just wanted to know, is that your burner account?
Angry man, thank you for the $5 super chat. We really appreciate you. You know how the media could have gotten in, buy season tickets. They only want to stir the pot. Let this be a positive moment for our new point guard. Okay, so let me ask you this question, angry man. Let me ask you this question. And I'm not projecting this at all. I think it's going to work out. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Brunson. I've been a supporter of this move since day one. I wanted the Knicks to go get him. How are you going to feel if it doesn't work out? How are you going to feel if it doesn't work out? When the Knicks don't win the amount of games you think they're going to win, right? Everyone's all mad. You want Tom Thibodeau fired. How are you going to deal with a situation like that? Is it stirring the moment when the Knicks are not winning? The Knicks are not winning on the floor. So how is it stirring the moment?
We're speaking hypothetically, though. If that happens,
everything is hypothetical until you win. Everything is.
So how is the Knicks fan, myself, how am I supposed to react if I'm excited for Brunson's arrival? And I see this as a big deal, and then it turns out to not be as big a deal as I thought.
You should be angry.
Angry why? Because they attempted something?
Because the move didn't work. And people need to be held accountable.
Things don't work all the time. Things work sometimes it has to do with luck and circumstance. And like there's multiple factors that determine whether a situation works out or doesn't. So we're gonna blame who? We're gonna blame the front office for giving them the deal. We're gonna blame him for not playing.
What you're saying is results don't matter. It's all about what you tried to do. That's what you're saying.
Results always matter.
So
they're never definitive. We never know. We don't have a crystal ball, so there's a chance in everything you do.
Of course,
anything you do.
Of course, Tony. Of course. But what I'm saying is, in the Knicks' case, they've been bad for so long. This is not a situation where it's just about bad luck. The Knicks themselves have been bad. The last 20 years isn't about bad luck. We've made terrible decisions. We have done that as an organization.
So I'll say this. I can admit that, but I don't want to judge. I don't want to bunch this front office and this regime with the past 15 prior. That is unfair. I'm not. If I'm going to judge them, I'm only. It is if you keep saying for how long we've been bad. Because if I strictly say 2 years ago we was the 4th seed, 2 years ago we was in the playoffs, and that's my only argument. Is that biased or is that unbiased? I have to look at both years, and I have to look at them together and combine them to come up with my conclusion. I can't just look at the 4th seed year. I can't just look at last year. But I'm specifically talking about this regime. Again, Knicks and Bruises is about that old regime. I'm not trying to. I hope this regime don't end up falling into the whole Knicks and Bruises.
Well, let me ask you a question. With this current regime, what are you hanging on to? What can you look at with this current regime that you can hang your hat on and say, okay, we got a winner?
We don't know yet, but I could definitely be.
You can't hang your hat on anything.
At this particular moment, yes, we finally got a point guard. I think that's gonna make a world of difference. We got young talent on this team that if they're here for the long haul, I project that they're all gonna improve. There's not one. All right, there may be 1 or 2 people, young guys on this team that I'm not sure if they're ever gonna reach their floor. But for the most part, let's say out of 5, 3 are going to reach their floor at the very least. Out of 6, maybe 4 will reach their floor at the very least. We have these guys. We didn't have this before. We had old guys at the end of their careers that couldn't get it done with no possible chance of a young guy in the win to replace them that could be mentored. We have a whole. This is a totally different situation. That's what you fail to acknowledge.
No, I know. Listen, I know that, and I support that as a fan. I'm not saying you're wrong about that. I'm just saying it has to translate on the floor in order for people to treat you differently. Because the Knicks have done things. They've hired Hall of Famers. They've got people to come in and run their organization that were perceived good at the same time, and it has not worked out. All I'm saying is, in order for the media to change the perception about the Knicks have to win as an organization. Period. Point blank. That's what the other great teams, they win, Tony. Winning matters. And I'm not talking about championships. Forget about that. In the 90s, when the Knicks were winning, they were a perennial playoff team, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, the semis, losing to Jordan, losing to whoever. The Knicks were respected. People around the country, fans respected the Knicks. That's not the case anymore.
That's unfair. That's unfair because it's hindsight and it's 2020. Because not for nothing, yeah, we had a nice stretch, but at the same time, even at that time, it still boiled down to what you say. They didn't win anything. So as respectable as they were in hindsight, that was still the problem. That was still talked about. It just so happens that since then, we got so bad that we kind of hold our hat on those years. You know what I mean? Because we were a perennial playoff team, a hard out every year. So there's two sides to everything. I want to move on from this particular topic with the media per se. But my last part of it.
Oh, you got to get the last word. Okay, go ahead.
No. I'm bringing it up. I'm going to get your response. But this is just something that I've been thinking about for about a week or so now, week to 10 days. Where's Stephen A. Smith? Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, I've been watching everybody who's been reporting on the Knicks, reporting on the Brunson move, the potential Donovan Mitchell move, and you know, podcasters, A-listers, B-listers, everybody who said anything. I've been trying to find the information, and then the other night I'm just like, yo, where's Stephen A. Smith? He hasn't said a word. He hasn't said, oh, I'm excited at the potential. He hasn't said the Knicks need to go do it. He hasn't said, oh, the Jazz are crazy for what they're asking for. And we're talking about the guy who's been the most vocal in the national media about Donovan Mitchell in particular and the Knicks needing to do what they have to do to go get him. So it struck me as strange. I asked you off air last night, did it strike you as strange? You could get into your response to this whole thing right after I'm done. But I have a theory. Like Josh likes to say,
here it comes, y'all. Conspiracy.
A conspiracy theory. But the reason I feel like he hasn't said anything at all is because he's waiting for the outcome so he can play both sides of the fence. And the reason I say that is if the Knicks do get him and we give up what is perceived to be too much, he has that argument to say the Knicks gave up 6 picks and 3 swaps and these 3 guys, and why would they do that for We talk about prior to the win. We talk about when he says when he finally speaks on the situation. But on the flip side, if the Knicks say no, I'm not giving up 8 picks, 6 picks. I'm not giving up this guy, that guy, and this guy. Now he has that argument to say the Knicks had a chance to go get a guy and they chose not to. And that's my problem with guys like that. And I really believe that's granted. I know he's been on vacation. That has never stopped him about coming in on his phone from the middle of whatever island or vacation he's on and drop a 30-second to 2-minute video or rant or on a current situation. And to me, it just strikes me as odd. And that's the only reason that I could conclude that why he did not come out and say anything one way or another. Whether it's, I don't care if it costs 8 picks, go get them. You have the chance. Or the reverse, hey man, they asking for too much. I'm a Knicks fan. I want Donovan. And to me, that just strikes me as weird. Floor's yours. And then we'll move on.
Listen, I don't know what's going on with Stephen A. Smith. I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith all the time. I don't. I don't agree with everything ESPN says all the time. Like I was on Kyrie Irving's side when Stephen A. Smith was going at Kyrie Irving, right? Because, and it's so funny we're talking about this whole thing because every time I talk about the media, I keep thinking about that episode of Game of Zones. You ever watch that? The little cartoon thing that they had at the end where Kyrie got a bunch of players to burn down the media. And then the new school beat the dream team or whatever, and there was nobody there to talk about it. So every time I have this conversation or even think about that, I just think about, all of that. And it's funny because Knicks fans will take the media side when it comes to Kyrie Irving, but won't take his. It's just weird to me. I just don't understand it. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith is at. I haven't seen him. Quite frankly, I don't look for him. But I do think it's kind of strange that he is not available. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he got something going on with his family. Normally he will chip in if he's not on the air. He would get on Twitter or say something. He hasn't done any of that. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not big into conspiracy theories. Personally, I don't think it's a conspiracy that the Knicks, I'm just not into it. So I really don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I guess we'll find out when the time comes. And if you're right, Tony, call it out. If you're right, call it out. I do want to respond to a couple comments that I have starred here that I want to address. First is from Jared Elakam Ben Israel. He said, Josh won the last 2 shows. He argued too damn much. Listen, man, I just try to give my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, it's cool. We agree to disagree. Me and Tony agree to disagree about this topic. So I just have an opinion. You don't like me because I'm arguing. I don't know what to say to you. I just try to give my point, and I give reasons behind my point. I don't just make stuff up out of thin air. I actually provide you with some context to what I'm talking about. But thank you for the comment, though. I appreciate it. Dope Soul Sports Talk, salute. She said both can be true. The Knicks have historically been terrible, and it's going to take time for that narrative to change. But ESPN is not casual. They are plugged into how the Knicks have changed. And I agree with that. This is not me just completely defending some stuff that ESPN has done and what the media has done. I understand that they do go overboard sometimes when it comes to the Knicks. The Knicks are the butt of the joke. But here's what I will say about that whole butt of the joke thing. Outside of New York City, and I've been stationed, I'm in the Navy, I've been stationed in different places around the country. And I've been around different fan bases, Laker fans, Bulls fans, even in Texas, Spurs fans, Mavericks fans, in Florida, Orlando Magic fans, up in Seattle, back when the Seattle Sonic fans. Nobody respects the Knicks. Nobody respects the Knicks in the organization. No one fears going into Madison Square Garden to play basketball. That's not the case. The Warriors, they get respect. Okay, yeah, they've won titles. Okay, that's a bad example. The Lakers haven't won a title in a few years, but in that time between those titles, that's dynasty Kobe had, and their last championship, people were still respecting the Lakers. The Lakers got a benefit of the doubt because they've won. They've won. It keeps coming back to that. They won. The Celtics, they get respect around the NBA. The Knicks do not. I'm just trying to point it out to y'all. I'm just trying to let y'all know. Outside of New York, no one respects the Knicks.
That's part of the problem. The respect was based off of past performances that had nothing to do with those current regimes, those current rosters, those current front offices. So why would they be able to get the benefit of the doubt, not based off their own individual performance or efforts or things of that nature? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because there was a time.
If you knew someone,
there was a time prior to LeBron going to the Lakers where there was a 10-year span where we were equally as bad.
And they got crapped on. And they got crapped on with the national media just like the Knicks did.
You just admitted to your out your own mouth that wasn't the case. That they had a benefit of the doubt.
From the fans.
No, I disagree.
From the national media, Stephen A. Smith came on air. He literally came on there, and I don't defend him a lot. He came on there and said the Knicks and the Lakers are the 2 worst basketball teams in sports.
What I'm telling you is for him to come out and say that one time is different because the coverage during that stretch was not the same. That's what I'm saying. The coverage was not the same. The what they spoke about the two teams was not the same. I'm not talking about him admitting it and saying, hey, over the last 10 years and pulling up a statistic and saying the Lakers have been just as bad. Yeah, he came out and said that at the end of that 10 years run. But during that 10 years, they weren't the joke. They weren't the laughing stock. They weren't being. That's what I'm saying.
You understand why, though, right?
You're telling me it's based off of the history and the 10 years prior to that.
Get the benefit of the doubt, Tony. The Knicks do not. Not only have the Knicks not been winning on the floor, everything else they've done outside, a lot of stuff outside of basketball has been bad too. It's just been bad overall. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This entitlement that a lot of Knicks fans feel, we deserve this, we deserve that. What have we done to get that? I don't get it. What have we done to get that same respect? We have not done anything. So why talk from a entitlement perspective like we deserve it when we don't? That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is tamper off the disrespect. That's what I'm saying.
They've been a bad team. They've been disrespecting me. I paid my money to go watch the game. The product has been bad. That's disrespectful to me.
You have that right. You have that right. I have no problem with a fan having their views. I'm only talking about mainstream media. But that's it. We're going to get off the media. We're going to talk.
One more comment. I just really want to address this comment real quick. Hilton Wood said, Josh, the more I hear you talk, the more I see your arrogance. You think you're brighter than everybody else. Love you, brother. Tony Crow. Keep your professionalism intact. Hilton Woods, respectfully, I just disagree with you. I don't think I'm better than everybody else. I don't know everything. I don't ever preach from that platform of me knowing everything. I respect Tony Crow. I respect Sim, and everybody else on NBK. This is not a disrespect thing. I don't act like I'm better than anybody else. Okay? I'm not arrogant. I will promptly admit when I'm wrong about something. So I just respectfully disagree with you. And just because you disagree with what I have to say and the substance of it doesn't mean you have to question my integrity and my professionalism. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, and I I'm not. This is not like bash Josh. You know what I mean? Like this is why I love doing segments with him, because most of the time we don't agree 100%, or sometimes we actually do agree, but the route in which we're explaining it may sound like the end product is gonna be the same. Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that, but the path to it is different. But appreciate you guys, and it's all love here. MBK fam. The fam is for family. You argue with your brother, you argue with your cousin all the time, and then you go out to eat and have dinner and there for Thanksgiving and all that. So we moving on though. We're gonna talk about this stalemate, right? Where Leon Rose, I said Rose won't budge and Ainge won't change. He's not budging. Neither side is budging. You said earlier on the last show you don't think that there's a rush to get the move done immediately. Tell me why you don't think it should be necessarily rushed, and are you concerned at all with other teams? Excuse me. The longer we wait, it becoming a big war, and then having to give up potentially more later, as opposed to what we might have to give up now? Or is it the flip side? The longer we hold this out, potentially the less we have to give up to make it happen.
So I think the reason why it's not rushed is because I don't think the market is as big as Utah would like it to be. So they're trying to gain leverage by waiting it out, trying to see if any other teams are going to be there to to basically offer or make the Knicks up their bid a little bit, right? So I think that's the reason why it's kind of dragging out. And I think Leon Rose in the front office is holding firm, right? And this is why I like the front office. I like the front office and what they're doing. I'm just saying that it has to translate to the floor. But anyway, I just think that, there's going to be a time where this deal is going to happen, right? And you can't sleep on the teams like Miami. Pat Riley has a history of doing these kinds of things, sneaking in and taking players from other teams, right? Pat Riley has that history, right? He has that benefit of the doubt. And that's why, Tony, you potentially have that thought of waiting could potentially make us lose out on him. The reason why is because we've seen Pat Riley do this before. He gets the benefit of the doubt. So I think that's the reason why this deal hasn't basically happened yet. I think it's going to happen at some point, but I think the Knicks are waiting it out. Perhaps waiting to get a third team involved. I think that's going to be a really important thing for the Knicks to do. They want to give up less, maybe young players or draft picks. Try to get a team that has an expiring contract or some salary they want to dump.
If I'm gonna keep it 100% honest, I'm good either way. You know what I mean? Like if they go out and get them and do whatever it ends up being, I'm fine with it. I have a preference always, but if we don't get them, I'm not gonna be one of those people that are sour on us not getting them, because I honestly want to see if my theory of actually having a competent point guard on this roster or in this organization, but more importantly on this roster, what it does, how it changes things. So I'm not really too concerned. I want to do the wait and see, because I don't think us waiting makes us have to give more. I think the cap on what they want, we know that already. I don't know if there's another team out there that can give them the cap of what they want. You know what I mean? Or even the potential trade that they asked for already. So I don't mind waiting. Now, is it a risk? Absolutely. Could they get an offer and not bring it back to us to say, hey, this is what we have, and just do it? Absolutely. That's a risk, me personally, I'm willing to take. I don't know if you are, because you seem to feel like, and a lot of us seem to feel like we got to do it. We got to do it now. But you recognize with waiting, there's a risk in losing it. If we lose them, how upset are you as a Knicks fan? Even if their logic was, we don't want to give up too much, or he may not be the end or be all.
It goes back to that thing of results matter. Like, again, I understand what the intentions are. Like my intention, or if I'm running the Knicks, my intention is to win basketball games, right? You can try all day long, but the results matter. I'm going to be pretty upset if the Knicks don't land Donovan Mitchell. I just am, right? You saved up all these assets to go out and potentially make a trade for a star player. Now you got a star player on your hands, and we didn't land that star player, right? I understand that there may be different things and nuances that that are going to be involved in every particular situation, but I'm going to be pretty upset. I'm comfortable with waiting, but I think at some point you got to be able to swing that back. And I'm not all for this whole youth and saving up all these draft picks and all of that stuff, particularly if they don't convey to be a blue chip prospect. And that's what we need. We need a blue chip guy to come in here to build an organization around. RJ Barrett is not there. He has not shown me he can be that guy yet. I think he can be a piece that you build around, but he can't be that guy, the guy on the marquee that you come see every night. I just don't feel like that's who RJ Barrett is, or even that potential in his first couple years in the NBA. So I'm going to be pretty upset. I'm going to have to get over it. I'm a Knicks fan, right? This is my team. I got to rock with them no matter what, but I'm going to be pretty upset.
See, I guess that's another thing we differ on. I'll say disappointed, but I won't say upset, because me being the optimistic one, at least
always never fails. Never fails.
I was gonna say, at least on this particular panel, I don't know if I'm the most optimistic fan. I think there's sometimes where I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But me being the optimistic one on this particular panel tonight with me and you,
I'm very optimistic. Believe it or not,
I'm confident in if we don't get Mitchell and we just rocking out with the roster that we have, there's a good chance. Number one, I feel like we're definitely a better team, but there's a good chance that we could still make the playoffs and be a difficult out. I'll say that, whether we win a round or two or whatever.
Getting the AC to make the finals like in '99, huh?
Hey,
that's what Kevin says. Cornerstone Kev, salute.
Oh, thank you for bringing in more optimism than me.
Yeah. No, he's not in the chat for that. When you said that, that's what I always think about because he always talks about in 1999, we had James, all of that stuff. But so I guess we're about to get out of here. I know we hit our hour mark. But I just want to close by saying this. Listen, everyone, thank you for tuning in. I love all you guys. We may disagree. I know you guys probably hate me right now. How can Josh possibly say something like this? This is from the heart. I'm not doing this to be contrarian. I'm not doing this just to make an argument to get views. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and viewing this. Stuff that I post on Twitter, some people may not like. I probably got muted and blocked by a whole bunch of people already. I personally, okay, this is just the way I feel, right? And if you got everybody saying the same things, how can you ever see anything different? How can you ever see anything different and see the other side of the fence, right? In my lifetime, the Knicks have been bad. Period, point blank. I want the Knicks to be better. My view of why the Knicks have been bad and all the moves that they made have been terrible all goes back to who's at the top. I'm not a James Dolan fan. I've been viral. I've been adamant by saying I'm not a James Dolan fan. Of course, the individual stuff is not his fault per se in the day-to-day, but I think ultimately everything comes back to him. Everything comes back to him. And I feel like the media was holding him accountable, and now he has his beef with the media, and that's why it's this situation that's going on where, we're just not looked at in a positive light. And I want to change that. And I think it's not just the media that stirs stuff up. It's the fans as well. That's all I got to say.
I agree with that 100%, but I don't have a problem with the fans doing it. You know what I mean? I do have a problem with it at times because sometimes I feel like fans go too far as well. But there's no police in that. You know what I mean? The fans are going to be fans. It's short for fanatic. There's always going to be some crazy ones in the bunch. I just feel like the media needs to have more.
And I'm the crazy one, right?
More. Hey, Josh. We all got a crazy uncle. We all do.
I'll be that guy.
It's just Uncle Fulio for MBK, But it's always love. It's always respect. You know what I mean? Whether we agree or disagree, the fact that we can have a conversation about it and talk about it, and even if this was live in person, we weren't going to come to blows. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
So that's the beautiful part about it. In closing for me, I just want to say thank you to the chat. Thank you to the subscribers. I am currently at 876, 124 to that 1,000 mark. That's what I'm looking to get to before the end of the season. Help me get there. Subscribe to Knicks and Bruises. Hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. Shout out to Sim as always for sharing the platform and helping us. Is inspiring us to leave the national syndicated TV shows and radio shows and kind of give a more biased outlook of the Knicks. And maybe it's not even just the fact that we Knicks fans come together and we get so many different opinions. Maybe that's what drew me more to this than the ESPNs, the Fox Newses, and because you're talking about two guys per show, you know what I mean, that are giving their opinion. Where you guys, we got 300 in the track, that's 300 different opinions. Some will be the same, but most of us have our own little spin
and
on
none of it is going to be the truth. The truth is still out there.
the truth is in the future, and we won't know it until it it presents itself. It becomes present.
Tony, somebody said, "Why your cat looking at me like that?"
Well, she is a guard cat. She is trained, and she will attack on command. Shout out to Mary Jane, my cat. I think we out of here. Your Blackest Time, Josh. Thank you for making this crossover show a little bit different this time, and you guys look forward to more mix-ups with these MBK shows, Knicks and Bruises, Dope Soul Sports Talk / Queens Court Controversy, International Andy. I don't know if he has a
Still
name
Knicks
for
fans, NBA Report.
Yeah, I was getting to them, but does Andy have a name for his show?
Nah, we're working on that.
Well, for now, we're just gonna call it International Andy Show, and until the name comes out. And still Knicks fans, diehard Knicks fans, Blanche Tears, of course, Legion of Knicks. Haven't seen you, but you still part of the crew. And anybody that I may have missed, my apologies. but it's love.
Salute everybody. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And we gone. Peace out.